Mike, we're rich. We're fabulously wealthy. Look, diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, unobtainium. We're wealthy beyond our wildest dreams. Mike? Mike? Shit, where'd Mike go? Hi, I'm James Leffingwell with KoopaTalkLive, and today I am joined by William Staszewski.
Hello.
And if you couldn't guess from my introduction, we're down one mic. We asked for a mic check, and Mike didn't show up. We don't know. No. All I know is, because he's gone, we get to make a bunch of just stabs at him throughout the entire episode. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, Mike, that big asshole.
I don't know. I think I know what he's doing, too. I think I know what he's freaking doing.
What's he doing?
He had mentioned something about there being some kind of football game on today, and that if it wasn't over yet, that he was going to have it playing in the background while we were doing KTL.
Do you think he's watching football right now?
Yeah, I think he ditched us for football. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and jump right into what you've been playing, only because, and we're going to let Justin take the forerun on this, because I need to know about the Final Fantasy 13-2 demo.
I really just want to play more of it. I cannot wait. It made my anticipation for January 31st even stronger, because you get to play this little portion of the game, and you don't save or anything. You can't continue later, you know, and that's half the fun of video games. That's most of the fun of video games, is the next time you play, you pick up where you left off. But that has nothing to do with the game. It's cool. The battle mechanics there's a lot more to it. And so because of that, it feels like it's so much faster. The combat is like, you know, you really gotta like pay attention. It's definitely like harder than 13. And I have no idea what's going on with the storyline, because the demo didn't really. The demo was like part of Chapter 2, and that was it. So I have no idea what's going on with the storyline.
So in other words, I shouldn't buy this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't do the one thing I wanted, did they?
Well, no. I told you that last time. It's not, Final Fantasy 7. It's Final Fantasy 13-2.
All I want them to do is remove that damn timer. That's all I want in life.
Yeah, Justin said it was faster paced, and I was like, wait, what?
No.
I thought that 13 was fast enough.
I mean, there's a beauty to having no clock and being able to strategically, think about what your next move is going to be. But there's also a strategy to it being very fast-paced. You got to make decisions on the fly. You got to make the right decisions. You got to not fuck up and hit the wrong button, because it is Final Fantasy, and even though it is very fast-paced, it involves going through the menu and hitting buttons, and, if you accidentally go into your items menu instead of, bringing out your monster, as they call them in the game. Like, what's really cool is in the demo, I don't know if there's more characters in the future, but there seem to be 2 characters. But your third party is like a monster. It's an enemy that you killed and then you capture, or you capture instead of killing. I don't know. You defeat him, and then it says you got this monster, and he becomes your third party. And depending on your paradigms, you can put different monsters in. You can have 3 monsters at a time, which is good because those guys, in the demo, let alone, I was getting, robots and shit that could really fuck shit up.
But I mean, at what point does it just turn into a damn action adventure,
Well, it's not that. It's not, Dragon Age or Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah, but at what point does it become that? You know what I mean? It sounds like it's just getting closer and closer to that. I mean, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone here who champions Final Fantasy 12.
What was that? Was that like an action adventure?
That was done in the action adventure style.
I think I saw 12 being played, and I thought it looked so terrible.
Yeah.
That is not what Final Fantasy is about.
And I mean, I guess it was like a beta test or something, but like Final Fantasy 14 was out, and I guess it was just a beta, but they decided that it went so horribly that they're like going back to the chopping block with it. So I don't know if that's the end of Final Fantasy XIV or if they're eventually going to come up with another MMO and call it Final Fantasy XIV. But they basically decided that one sucked.
Yeah. I just don't think that Square knows what Final Fantasy fans want anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Final Fantasy 13 is a great game. I love playing it, but the fast-paced action, that game is actually kind of slow for me because my fast-paced action I get from playing RTS, real-time strategy. That's what my fast-paced gaming is from. And if I think it's too slow, then I up the difficulty. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten to thinking extremely fast and being very analytical of my current situation, being able to think on the fly very well. And I can wrap up a Rise of Nations game against the second highest difficulty in about an hour. Because I've gotten to the point where I just process all this stuff so quickly that I can be faster than the computers. And there's like no combat because my mind works that quickly. Final Fantasy 13 seems like a slow game to me. And that's the thing, is that's not what Final Fantasy is supposed to be in the first place. I like it because I like RTS, not because I like Final Fantasy. I've never really liked the Final Fantasy series that much, but I played Final Fantasy 13 and liked it because of the fast-paced action. I know that that's not what Final Fantasy is supposed to be, so that's why I haven't gone through and played all the Final Fantasies yet.
Yeah, no. I mean, the people who fell in love with Final Fantasy fell in love with it for an entirely different style of battle mechanics, which was slow-paced and methodical and planned out. And that's what every Final Fantasy game was, all the way up to, I'd say almost 10-2. 10-2 was when they really started to break the curve. They brought back in the timing that they had from 7 and 8, but you couldn't turn it. It wasn't optional to turn it off or anything else like that. And they made your actions move a lot quicker than in any previous Final Fantasy game, even with the little timers. And it's just, you have no time to think and no time to strategize at all. And almost all the strategy at that point is more or less taken out because of the fact that you can't literally sit down like you would in front of a chessboard and go, okay, now what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. The big difference is that turn-based strategy is not where Final Fantasy is at all. That's not where they should be dabbling in. That's the only way they should be dabbling in. Excuse me.
That's
what I meant. Sorry. Yeah, I meant that they should be in turn-based strategy. Sorry, I was misspeaking there. Yeah, turn-based strategy is their strong suit, and going into anything real-time is a mistake on their part, because that's not their passion. The passion is the fan base. And I could feel that with Final Fantasy 13. It didn't feel like any other Final Fantasy. That's why I liked it personally. But why I know that most fans would not.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, Final Fantasy 13, for the most part, was discredited by the fan base. Nowhere near to the degree that Final Fantasy 12 was, but it was still discredited by the fan base. And it's because it's not what people who grew up on Final Fantasy want.
Just like 13.2 sounds almost exactly like Final Fantasy 13 in that it's going to be very fast-paced action and very fun, but not what the fans want.
They're inventing like a new genre of gaming with Final Fantasy 13 because it's not Dragon Age and it's not, Final Fantasy 7. It's still very much turn-based. It is a turn-based game. There's just a timer on it, and you got to be quick on it, and you can't sit there and think about what you want to do. And in 13.2, there's just so much more options of what to do and how to set up your party and all that stuff. And like something that's definitely different between 13.2 and 13 is if you die, you could rearrange your paradigms, like I said, with the monsters, put in different monsters and stuff like that, and then go in and have a better chance at beating whatever the enemy is. I think it's very strategic and stuff like that. But
yes, it is strategic, but the problem is that it's all very fast-paced thinking, and it doesn't really give you time to strategize. It's all thinking on the fly, which is something more reminiscent of a real-time strategy, not a Final Fantasy game.
What else have you been playing, Justin?
Dragon Age 2. Love that. Mass Effect 2. I played the Kingdoms of Amalur demo, which, like, the controls are a little wonky, and it's basically like a ripoff of Dragon Age. It basically is. Like, when you open up a chest, the menu looks exactly the same. It's like take all, and then below it is the various different things that you can take. So I don't know if I'm going to... I guess if I have some free time, I might check out the whole game, rent it or something. But that's pretty much what I've been playing.
Now, that actually brings up an interesting... That actually brings up an interesting point to me, that Justin called it a ripoff, because a lot of people, when they say it's a ripoff, that makes them think it's a bad thing. And I played Rift, and I know it's a ripoff of WoW, but I like Rift a lot more. They took the bad things about WoW and then made them good, and that's why I like Rift. And if Kingdom of Amalur is like, we took the bad things about Dragon Age and made them good, then it'll be a better game.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing you can't really tell from a demo.
Millions of people called Dante's Inferno a ripoff of God of War. I enjoyed Dante's Inferno a million times more than I ever enjoyed a God of War game.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys are listing like the exceptions to the rule. Dante's Inferno is really good. Rift. I kind of guess from the demo, as I said, we'll see when the whole game comes out and if I have the time to rent it, but it seems like a Dragon Age 2 done not as well. From the demo, who knows how far away the demo is from the final build, but from the demo of Kingdoms of Amalur, I would say they definitely needed like another year to work on the game, maybe 6 months to work on the game. It just doesn't seem finished. It just doesn't seem polished at all. The gameplay's wonky. The graphics are like majorly different between cinematics and the actual gameplay, which, come on. Yeah, in the PS3 360 days, we expect the graphics to be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
This is PS2 days where we expect full cinematics and then gameplay polygons.
Yeah. And that was really kind of what it was the game. The demo opened with like a beautiful cinematic introducing you to the world and everything, and then after a couple minutes of that, you go to the actual game, and the graphics just suddenly took a huge dip. It was really disappointing for me because I was so looking forward to it. They were, I was watching interviews and stuff, and they were touting it as, you take, Dragon Age and kind of stuff, and then you throw in the combat of God of War, and you have an RPG that's basically like God of War, and the combat is just really slow. Like the roll away, if anybody's played God of War, you know what I'm talking about. When you roll away from the enemy, I would literally hit the roll away, the guy would swing, hit me, and then my guy would roll away. It's like that kind of... That's why I say they need another year to work on the game. And hopefully the demo is a year old and the game looks nothing and plays nothing like the demo. But it was... Yeah,
that's kind of like what they needed to do with the Fable games. Give them an extra year to work on it, maybe 4, so that they can actually make a decent quality game instead of Fable 2 and Fable 3.
Yeah.
I just want to know if it was something so amazingly good that me and Will couldn't put it down and turn it into something that we could easily turn away.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, imagine if they'd taken 2 more years on Fable 2. How wonderful that game would have been.
Oh.
If it had come out about 5 years ago, it would have been a wonderful game. Just tone down the graphics and sell it that way. If it had been the original Fable, it would have been an okay game, but it's like they made the original game so beautiful, as well as Lost Chapters, and then they were like, let's completely redo the game and only fulfill about half of the promises we made. That's pretty much what they did. And that was Fable 2 for you.
All right. Well, what have you been playing? Well, we have got to move on. We've so far all we've got with what Justin's been playing.
Yes, because Justin's been playing some very controversial games, apparently. Let's see, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, as I said I would. I'm not done with it yet. I'm going around revamping Rome, making it look nice and all that. And just today I started playing Dungeon Crawler, finally, called Torchlight. And it's actually really fun.
Torchlight is a joke.
It is?
Yes.
How so?
In the realm of really good, really hardcore dungeon crawlers, Torchlight is an infant.
That doesn't matter to me. I enjoy the game, actually. Dungeon crawlers, I'm not a big fan of. I don't play the Diablo games because I find them boring and crummy and not worth my time. I picked up Torchlight. I started playing Torchlight, and I was like, wow, I want to come back to this game. Yes, I've played Diablo 2. No, I don't like Diablo 2. Torchlight, I think, is a better game than that.
You think Torchlight's better than Diablo 2?
Yes, I do. For someone who's more into RTS and first-person shooters and third-person shooters and stuff like that, yeah, I think that Torchlight would be a better game, because I actually enjoy it. I just killed my second boss, and they were actually very difficult. I pretty much had to drink all of my potions, and I'm only on the normal difficulty, too. I'm not saying that it's a challenge for me. I'm just saying that it's actually an enjoyable game, unlike Diablo 2.
Cool. You know what? Do yourself a favor. Go download a game called Fate. Okay? Go find yourself a copy of Fate. I know you can. Go play that. It's basically exactly what Torchlight is a ripoff of.
Huh.
And when I say ripoff, I mean as in they literally took every single part of Fate and just had a bigger budget for the exact same game.
No, I've actually seen you play Fate before, and I remember that you have like a dog or something in Fate. And yes. I have a cat in Torchlight.
I can choose a cat in Fate as well.
Oh, my cat's better.
Yeah, let me guess. You can fill him full of items, and he'll go back to town and sell them for you, and you can feed him certain fish that'll make him turn into certain creatures that can help you in battle, and everything else.
I don't turn him into any creatures. I just sell the fish. I don't really bother with my pet at all. I equip my pet with stuff so he can fight better normally, without having to worry about his timer running out or anything like that. I hate consumables, but I drink potions.
I hate consumables, but I drink potions.
That's not the only consumable I drink. Or the only consumable that I use.
I want a t-shirt that says, I hate consumables, but I drink potions.
That's my new slogan. Potions are about the only thing that I take in Torchlight. What else have I been playing?
Yep.
Absolutely nothing. In most of my free time, I've been reading the book 1984.
That's a good book.
It is a good book.
You're talking about George Orwell's 1984, right?
Yes, sir. It's a good book, and I've been reading it because I'm on work-based learning for the next 2 months. So I'm going to be reading books going to and from as well as in my free time instead of having to get my desktop out and set it up every single evening. On the weekends, however, that's when I start gaming. You know, D&D and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right, you want to know what I've been playing?
What has James been playing?
I took a 3-night bender and went through and beat Darkstone.
Darkstone. I remember watching you play that game, and its graphics were terrible.
Its graphics are terrible. And you know what's even greater? Now that I'm playing it on a 52-inch screen, you can see the pixel art.
That's absolutely hilarious.
I kid you not. Like once you blow it up onto a screen this size, when you look at an item, you can actually see the individual pixels.
Alright, so you played Darkstone for 3 hours.
No, for 3 nights.
3 nights, excuse
15
me.
hours.
15 hours.
15 hours.
Okay, that's much better.
Yeah. Went through, beat the hell out of that again. I'm probably going to take my character and roll him up into the next difficulty. Because it's not like Diablo where you start out, you beat the game on Novice, and then depending on what level you are once you beat the game, you can roll your character into a higher difficulty with all of its stuff. And the way they keep it interesting, the reason why they make it where you want to replay it, is you go through 8 different lands, And in each land, it'll randomly generate one of 3 possible quests in order to get your crystal. So, when you go and play it again, you may end up redoing 1 or 2 quests, but the other 6 will be different from the last time you played it. That's a big chunk of the game that's entirely new experiences every time you replay it. This is why I say Darkstone did dungeon crawling first and did it right. There is no other game, dungeon crawler, that has been made since, even Diablo 3, that can live up to what Darkstone did.
Except
it is the greatest dungeon crawler ever made.
All right. I remember we were talking about Darkstone the other day, and the original Diablo came out first. No, I looked it up.
Darkstone came out about 6 months before Diablo.
According to the dates, no.
Really?
Yeah, I looked up the wiki articles on each of them, and it says that Diablo came out before Darkstone.
I looked up the wiki articles as well.
Well, apparently you looked at them wrong.
You know, maybe there's a chance Darkstone came out.
There were other ones that came out before Darkstone as well. Neverwinter Nights, the games that it's based on, I can't remember what the heck they're called, but the first one I think came out in '92, and Neverwinter Nights was actually the third in the series.
I mean, if you want to talk about the original, if you want to go by technicality and go to the original dungeon crawler, it has to be Gauntlet.
That's true, yeah.
But Gauntlet is so far divorced from what we refer to as a dungeon crawler today that I'm not sure you can legally count it anymore. Alright, for those of you who don't know what SOPA and PIPA are, which, if you're invested in the internet enough to listen to or / watch video game podcasts, you should know what the hell SOPA and PIPA are. But I guess it's my job to try to explain them. Okay.
I can explain SOPA if you want me to.
Go ahead. You explain SOPA, I'll explain PIPA. Knock yourself out.
All right. SOPA, or SOPA, stands for Stop Online Piracy Act. It is an act that's trying to be passed through Congress right now that makes it so that whenever somebody posts something that is not allowed on the internet, someone will tell the organization that SOPA creates that there's something being posted on this site that is not allowed, and then SOPA will flag that site, take them down, and then that whoever owns that site then has to issue a counter-proposal saying what they did right about this site and why it is not offensive. There's a lot of problems with this, such as the fact that there doesn't really even need to be any credible evidence to take it down, take the website down. It's just like this one person says, oh, I don't like this website because they have this on here. And they'll be like, all right, that's grounds. And then they take the site down. And then it's up to the company that owns this website, who could be losing billions of dollars every day that this thing is down, to issue a counterproposal, and then they may have to sit through months of waiting for the counterproposal to be read and considered before their site comes back up. It's there's a huge amount of holes in the SOPA bill, and just everything that it's trying to do is very, very vague and open to interpretation as to how it will actually be implemented. It's not so much that the bill itself is a bad idea, it's the vagueness of the bill that makes it such a terrible thing. And that's why nobody wants it passed, except some stupid politicians who think it won't affect them.
Actually, it's not even the politicians that want these laws passed. It's Hollywood and the music industry. It's the movie and music industry that have this fear that they're losing billions of dollars a day to kids pirating their stuff, or to people listening to their music or watching their movies on YouTube, or Mega Video, or Daily Motion, or whatever.
Yeah, it's just they think that if there's any pirated material on the site, then they just say, please take it down to the SOPA organization, and the SOPA organization will immediately take it down. And then they'll just leave leave the site to stagnate, and the company is left in the gutters waiting for their counterproposal to be written. If they write the counterproposal 3 hours after the site goes down, it could be a month before it's even looked at, let alone actually agreed upon and then passed back through so that their site can come back up. It would be a lot of unnecessary paperwork that is a terrible idea. I mean, piracy is considered by Hollywood and the music industry to be a bad thing. You know, they think they're losing millions of dollars when in reality they're not. It's just they are trying so hard to get this bill passed, and they don't think it'll affect them at all.
The way that we live in this world where all this information is, free and readily available has actually made me purchase more movies and more music than I ever would have.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that they look at it as someone downloaded our movie, that's one sale we lost. They don't look at it as someone downloaded our movie, that's a new potential customer. So let's just throw out a hypothetical, all right? I pay for DirecTV, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I love watching House. Okay? If I can watch House online at the same time that it's supposed to air on my TV without commercials and just from the convenience of my laptop, does that change the fact that I'm still paying for DirecTV?
No, I don't think it does. The only difference that makes is that they don't have another viewer on the show. If you watch the exact same episode streamed off of their site, that would count as a viewer, and it wouldn't matter, and they would still get their money. But if you're not watching the show, then it's their viewer rating goes down or something like that, and they don't get as much money.
And what's funny is the place where piracy hurts the most, and the industry that gets hurt the most by piracy, is in fact the PC game industry, and they're not even backing these bills. EA, who is one of the biggest fighters of piracy in the games industry, is straight up saying, no, we don't like SOPA and PIPA. Yes, we'd like to end piracy, but even we know this ain't the way to do it.
Yeah.
And what's even worse is that these laws that are trying to be passed right now are going to be thrown on top of the DMCA. Why aren't we just going back and revisiting the DMCA, which is already a broken piece of law?
Yeah, I was reading something about them going back and trying to fix the DMCA, too. And there was nothing that they could do with the DMCA. They'd revised it and tried to fix it a few times, and it was just a broken law in the first place. Or a broken bill.
So the answer is to throw more crap laws on top of it?
Yeah. This is just they're trying to add to a crap law that isn't even really thought of anymore. It doesn't work. It doesn't perform the way it's supposed to.
So now we're going to throw more crap laws on top of it. This is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Now, of course, PIPA, which we're going to go and start talking about PIPA now, is Protection of Intellectual Properties Act, PIPA.
All right.
Now, the thing is that PIPA shares a lot of the same sentiments as SOPA. The difference is, the main difference here, is that PIPA is a federal bill. Now, the deal with PIPA is, and what makes PIPA really dangerous, is it makes it to where domain owners are 100% liable and 100% responsible for any and all content on their domain, even if it is uploaded by a third-party user. Meaning, if I upload Welcome to the Black Parade to YouTube, I don't take any fault for that. YouTube does.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Now let's get to even worse. You know the Federal Trade and Border Protection Committee, right?
No.
These are federal agents whose job it is to, quote-unquote, keep our borders safe and to keep out, illegal immigrants and to keep out illegal substances, such as to make sure that the embargo on Cuban cigars still goes well and that Cuban cigars don't enter our country and that coke and meth from Mexico don't enter our country and all this other wonderful stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
They, according to PIPA gives them responsibility and the right to now also protect the borders of the internet and be basically the gate between what from international websites and what from international companies and international committees gets to make it over into American websites.
I've heard something about that. SOPA has some similar things, but probably not federally mandated. They're probably done by a third party, which is an even worse idea.
This is all federally mandated. This is a federal bill. But can you imagine that? Can you imagine having the same people who are responsible to make sure that we don't get to smoke Cuban cigars being the same people who are supposed to police the internet and make sure that illegal content from Japan doesn't make it over into American websites?
That's just ridiculous.
But, I mean, here's what it comes down to, though. If either of these laws pass, it's going to basically destroy the internet. YouTube will more or less be gone. Facebook will be gone. MySpace will be gone. Google will have to fight to stay alive.
Google is actually an interesting one. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, Wikipedia is, gone if this passes. But Google is an interesting one because they're just a search engine. And they're going to be severely limited because they're going... Stop interrupting me. Google is going to have their search results monitored, and the links leading to so-called blacklisted sites are going to be taken away. They're pretty much going to censor Google.
Yep.
And if Google is having their search results censored, it's just everything's going to break down. There's also something that I was reading about with SOPA. They said that they were going to shut down proxy sites. And a lot of people thought this was really stupid because most proxy sites are made by the government for government use. And so it's pretty much like the government is giving itself an Achilles heel by taking away their own tools for being able to do things.
You know what's funny? About the only thing you know what this is going to mean? If this all passes, the only websites that will be left will be amateur porn sites. Because under these laws, amateur porn is protected.
Yeah. Pretty much.
If I take a camera and I film myself fucking my girlfriend and put it online, that's not illegal. It's my own content that I'm sharing with the world. The only thing that will be protected is amateur porn.
It's like all of the big websites, the ones that actually care about stuff, are not supporting this bill. Either of them. Because they're both terrible decisions. YouTube hates it. Google hates it. Wikipedia hates it. And I can't even think of any others right now. I'm pretty sure that eBay hates it. So does Amazon.
Facebook's the thing.
Oh, yes, Facebook as well. MySpace, nobody cares about MySpace. But, all of the big name sites are don't pass this bill. This is a bad idea.
Now, I'm going to point out that I did the right thing, and I called my congressman and both of my senators. Okay?
All right.
Now, as far as my congressman for the 4th District of California, I believe I'm in the 4th District. What's the 3rd District? I don't know. I got the numbers from Wikipedia, so who knows. Either way, when I called them, I found out that my congressman is strongly against PIPA and SOPA. My first secretary, which is a woman whose name I cannot freaking remember. I wish I had this page up. I'd be given names here, but damn. Wikipedia's made it where I can't get to that page anymore. They just finally buried all the other stuff, so I can't get to that damn page anymore where all those numbers and names are listed. By the way, my first senator, who's a woman, is strongly for both SOPA and PIPA. And when I asked why, they claimed for economic reasons. That with the way piracy is right now, that the movie industry, music industry, and all that are losing money, and that's hurting our that's hurting our local economy. And the point that I tried to make was, I didn't even try to make the point that we've been arguing for this whole time about how it's just basically free advertising. I made the point that how much revenue in the economy is going to be lost if billion-dollar websites are shut down. Imagine
that's an extremely good point.
Imagine the amount of job loss if Google went under tomorrow.
They'd all be getting hired by the jobs that SOPA and PIPA opened up. And then there would be, like, 2,000 people in jobs. And then, like, the other, 60,000 employees at Google would have nothing. Now, I know there's more than 60,000, but, I think there's more than 60,000 at Google.
Probably. They have a full campus, so. Now, my second senator is against SOPA and is for PIPA, however believes that PIPA needs to be revisited and that there are problems with PIPA and that it should not be passed in the current way that it sits.
Of course not. It's like the only way that the bill will be to the point where it doesn't completely screw us over is when the bill is completely pointless in the first place.
Exactly, which is what the DMCA is. There's no really good way to do this. Which, I mean, let's also talk about this. If these laws pass, KoopaTalkLive will be illegal.
How so?
We use unlicensed images, we use gameplay footage that we don't own the license to, and we use unlicensed music from the original Super Mario Brothers games in between segments. That's all illegal according to SOPA and PIPA. Even though we don't make a dime off KoopaTalkLive, that doesn't matter. We're using unlicensed content.
Man, it's going to suck having, like, even if YouTube did stay afloat after this bill got passed, it would suck listening to silent videos.
I mean, Will, if you go on your Facebook wall right now, how many images and pictures and videos and things have people posted on their wall that you see on your feed that they don't own the rights to?
Like all of it?
Exactly. So how does Facebook survive that? Nope. Facebook goes bye-bye too.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm James Leffingwell with KoopaTalkLive. We're here in conjunction with No Goomba Left Behind. Every day, millions of Goombas are being stomped and left hungry. We can change that with your help. Every time that you like KoopaTalkLive on Facebook, and every time you get a friend like KoopaTalkLive on Facebook, you will save one starving Goomba. Also, you can contribute even more by sending emails to KoopaTalkLive@gmail.com. Also, you can of course check out KoopaTalkLive.blogspot.com. There are so many ways, just so many ways that you can help these poor starving Goombas, and I feel for them as much as you do, of course. Other ways that you can always support the Goombas is by you and your friends checking out the episodes of KoopaTalkLive on YouTube with our new hybrid podcasts. All you have to do is just simply go to www.youtube.com/collective network. Also, you can just simply search KoopaTalkLive, and you'll be able to find all of our videos. Remember when searching KoopaTalkLive to make that all one word. There are just so many countless ways, and they all take such little effort. In fact, you can even help the Goombas by simply making posts on our message board at KoopaTalkLive.proboards.com. Help KoopaTalkLive, and help No Goomba Left Behind. Because if we work together, we can make sure that Goombas get to eat pizza instead of being on pizza. Thank you very much for your time. We're going to go ahead and close the show out with final thoughts. Will, what would be your final thoughts?
Torchlight is a great game.
Justin, final thoughts?
Final Fantasy 13-2 is a great game.
My final thoughts? Darkstone, greatest dungeon crawler ever. Every game developer on Earth needs to be playing this and learn some lessons. Thank you very much for listening to KoopaTalkLive. I'm James Leffingwell.
I'm William Szynski.
And I'm Michael Deal. KoopaTalkLive was paid for by 1UP Mushrooms and sponsored by Bowser.